2022 meeting of the Lancaster EDA. First, we have a roll call. Taryn Bryce Rowland.
Here.
Samuel Rice.
Here.
Bruce Sanders could not make it. He's taking care of his ailing sister, and they had a medical thing this morning. Jeff Sapersky.
Here.
Lisa McLaughlin.
Here.
And Don Gill. Thank you all for coming. We've got a compressed meeting today, so we need to be brief on all of our statements. I do want to introduce our newest member, Lisa McLaughlin. We have met and talked about her interest in the community. She is a new member of the community, which I think is to our advantage because she came to this county with her husband and two children and absolutely loved it, and then they immediately moved here because of what we have to offer. So I think she's going to be a great addition and also a new younger member that can help us with retaining younger people here. So Lisa, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Is this on? Should I speak into this?
Yes.
Does it matter? Okay. Hi, my name's Lisa McLaughlin, and we moved here last June. We came, as I shared, I think, with a few people, we came down to the Tides and had a perfect Tides weekend, and then we said, wow, we really like this area, and bought a house. So we have two kids, first and second grade, and we're really enjoying it so far. And my background is both, I had a government contracting stint for about 10 years, and then I'm a creative entrepreneur. I do business consulting and coaching. So this realm of economic development is really interesting to me. I'm excited to get involved, get to know you guys.
Thank you. And I know you've been involved with a lot of community efforts too in the areas you've been, so that's going to be great for us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. Next is the election of officers. We do this every January for 1-year term. And first officer would be for the chairperson. And I've enjoyed being the chair. Wouldn't mind being the chair again, but I think it's time to turn the gavel over to someone else that has a lot of energy, and I certainly would have that person's back if someone would nominate me for vice chair, because I really have enjoyed it. But I would like to nominate Taryn Bryce Rowland, and for a number of reasons. I've talked to Taryn, and she said she would be happy to assume the gavel and the position. She's very community-minded. She's a small business person here in town, in our county, and made a great presentation to us for the business that she and her husband have. She attends the Northern Neck Planning District Commission meetings and is very interested in the entire, all 5 districts. So I would like to nominate Taryn Bryce Rowland.
Second.
Second. So we have a motion on the floor. We have a seconded. All in favor, make known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So I'm going to turn the gavel over to you.
Okay. I'm not exactly sure what to do, but.
And here is the agenda for
Okay.
today. And we'll
Fantastic.
trade places here.
Oh,
Or we can
okay.
keep
You know
the
what?
same place.
Yeah, let's just stay where we are.
But I'm going
Okay.
to give you the gavel just in case.
Okay, great.
You probably won't.
I am. Fantastic. All right then.
Here's the,
Oh, the printed
The
copy.
agenda.
Thank you. All right, then I think it's time that we take up the next agenda item, which is the readoption of the bylaws for the EDA.
and we have elections.
Oh,
Gotta go
the
through-
additional positions. Oh,
Yes.
sorry. Okay, well,
So-
I would like to nominate Roy as vice chair.
I'll second that.
Awesome. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I guess that we move on now to the
You do
secretary role
secretary and
And
treasurer.
treasurer.
and treasurer? Okay.
And I would like to nominate Lisa, our new member. I talked to Lisa about it, and the main responsibility is, obviously, is taking the minutes of the meetings. And Don, as you said at the last meeting, Crystal is overwhelmed and can no longer do it. She does it for every commission. And, you know, Don and Crystal have 10 things up in the air at any time they're juggling. So
At least.
I would like to nominate that, and also that would give you a perspective about what we're doing here also. In the bylaws, there is a description of what the secretary's
I saw it, yeah.
obligations are, but it's mostly taking the minutes of the meeting.
Okay. I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's gonna take time to get used to this.
Just say we have a motion on the floor
We have a
and
motion.
seconded. Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor that's been seconded. All
Getting
everyone's in favor? All right, now it's actually time to move on to the next.
Treasurer,
Yeah, formally you need to.
Oh, I thought it was
yeah.
a joint position, is what you
No.
were saying.
Oh, no.
No, no.
Okay, all right. I really
You're
want to
getting
get
there, you're
ahead,
getting
don't
there, you
I?
just started.
All right.
I nominate Don Gill.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Told you I'd get a hang of it.
Congratulations, Don.
All right,
I
yeah.
know you're excited. All right, now should we move on?
Now you may.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's time for the next agenda item, which is readoption of the EDA's bylaws for 2022. Do we, I just make a motion?
Yeah, unless you want to make any or suggest any changes. Last year, you put in a change to allow for electronic participation in meetings due to the COVID pandemic. If there are no changes, you can just move to readopt the bylaws as presented.
Yeah, I read through them pretty thoroughly, and I would make a motion to approve them as written.
I would,
Second that.
all right, that's
Do you have a
second.
second?
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Without any objections, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, perfect. Okay, so our next agenda item is for a grant request. We have Kendra here to make, yes, Kendra? Awesome, to present a request for Birth in Color. Are you prepared to come up and speak now? Sure. Awesome.
Could I ask one question before you start? Glenn, do we have anybody we need to let into our meeting virtually? Any Zoom people? No, sir. Okay, good.
Kendra, would you mind introducing yourself as well?
Hi, I am Kendra Satnell. I am the Executive Director of Birth in Color. So I didn't know whether I was supposed to present or whether I was just supposed to answer questions.
You can do both.
A little bit.
So let me, so Birth in Color was actually started in 2018 because of the increase in the maternal mortality rates. And so what we saw was that racism has a lot to do with the maternal mortality rates climbing up, but also the access of care. So social determinants of health has a lot to do with it as well. And so what we're doing is, doulas have been around since early years. They used to be called birth sisters. And so what the doula does is they provide care for the pregnant person during that time. And they make sure that they're getting to their prenatal visits. If anything arises within the home, if they have inadequate food or anything like that, we're actually pulling in other resources to make sure that they are covered. And so what it does is it provides emotional, physical support. And especially since the Northern Neck area does not have a maternal center, most of these women are actually driving 2 hours to Richmond. And so they're requesting like, hey, we want doula services because when we can't get in touch with our providers, we want to have someone that can provide us with information on whether we should just drive all the way there or what should we actually be doing. And then also there's a piece for childbirth education, making sure that everyone is equipped and understands what it takes to actually have a baby. And so as a person who grew up in the Northern Neck, who our GH stopped having babies, that was a huge factor. And then dealing with other agencies around the county, we're actually planning to have like a birth center again that's adequately equipped to handle in the next 5 years. So that plan looks a little bit different. So we're actually applying for a HRSA grant as well to make sure that the county is actually fully equipped with all of the things that we're looking for. And so the first part of the training, it will be 6 doulas to where I can actually have hands-on. I go to all of their births to make sure that they're actually helping with interventions instead of harming.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you very much for that presentation. Does anybody have any questions
Yeah, I
they'd
have-
like to ask?
I do have a few questions.
Okay.
And thank you so much for coming. And thanks for supplying us so much information about doulas, because some of us weren't terribly familiar. What county, I know you listed 5 counties, including Essex of the Northern Neck. How many doulas are you planning to have? You said 5 or 6, or possibly 6. Are they going to serve the entire Northern Neck community, the other counties? Or they
No, they're separate. So
They're
we're planning to
separate.
have 6 doulas in each county.
in each county? So
Yes.
have
And
you?
Anthem has said that, you know, based upon the meetings with the different counties, what that looks like, they'll help out with funding as well.
And I saw that Governor Northam, did he not provide, I think, Medicare for this
So
as of
yes,
April 1st? Is
Medicaid
it-
will be reimbursing for doula care also. I'm the chair of the Virginia Doula Task Force, and so hopefully it will actually be up by June. But what we do know about Medicaid is like it keeps getting pushed back, but it will definitely be open by the end of the year.
Yeah, I thought I saw April 1st was hopefully
Yes, it's
the-
supposed to be April 1st.
Okay, good.
But because of the switch of administrations, it might be a little bit past June.
And I noticed there's a task force, the Regional Task Force Initiative for Integrative Health. Is Birth in Color, that's a Virginia, or is that, do you own Birth in Color?
Yes, I actually own Birth and Color.
Okay, you own Birth in Color, good. And you had mentioned 5 regions, I think, in the state. I did read about Lynchburg,
Yes.
that area, the program that you put on there.
So we have Lynchburg, we have Richmond, Northern Neck, Roanoke. Well, we're launching Roanoke and we're launching Northern Neck.
Okay, all right. And also, what does a doula charge? Do they charge by the hour or by the patient for the
So
longevity?
all of it's different. So each doula will actually be their own entity as well. So we teach them how to be sustained as living their life as a doula. So they charge their own rates, but typically you'll see between $1,000 and $1,200 for that service, and that's for typically 4 prenatal visits, 4 postpartum visits, and actually attending the birth.
Okay,
And so for those who don't know what postpartum is for after she's had the baby.
and do most doulas have another job to,
Some do, some do not. It all depends on how well the word of mouth or their advertising is.
okay,
I don't have other stuff. There's probably, out of the 75 doulas we actually do have, probably 50 of them do not have other jobs.
okay. Good, well, I think that after reading all about doulas and hearing from other people, I think it's a wonderful service that you're providing to the African-American community.
Thank you, I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Does anybody else have questions?
Yeah,
Jeff?
I have a couple questions. I saw on the request, there was a budget, and the request amount to us is the same amount as the overall budget. Is there a bigger budget that shows like Anthem money coming in or anything like that?
So there is a bigger budget. Anthem has not told us how much money they're actually giving us. They want to see what the counties give us before they give us the large lump sum, because we don't want overpayment.
Right,
But if you look at the actual budget, that's for each county.
okay,
So each locality, that's what it typically costs for the program.
okay. So that, okay. So, like, are there other, I guess where my point is, it seems like a real healthcare initiative to me, rather than an economic development initiative. And there are lots of foundations around that support healthcare initiatives with, each of the major medical providers having their own foundation typically. Have they all been approached? And are
So
they?
yes, they have all been approached, but because we don't want doulas to be considered healthcare, it's always a separate entity. Because that's where the trust comes in, is where we are advocating for the actual client.
Okay,
If they have any biases against the healthcare provider or anything like that. So it would be a conflict of interest for us to be under health care, but they all do support the program and they refer it to different hospitals and different stuff like that.
and are there medical foundations not directly tied to hospitals that still support medical health?
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's where each doula will actually get paid for their services. So even with like, I think in the project, it should say 48 births. So those 48 births are not for free. It's free for the community, but we're paying the doulas for those births.
Okay.
Because we don't believe that anybody should work for free. So and that's why it's economic development, because they have a certification that they have for the rest of their lives. And especially since Virginia is certifying doulas, starting June, that's their certification. So it's similar to the CNA program.
Okay,
It's just that we're still working out the kinks of what it looks like for workforce for development for the state of Virginia and getting the whole curriculum like approved and all the logistics of it.
This is a very parochial question, but it relates directly to our charter and purposes and powers. Our general purpose is fostering and stimulating the development of industry and trade in the county of Lancaster. Like, what assurances on this request can I, in good faith, say, this is being kept in Lancaster County? You know, that our mission is Lancaster County, it's not the Northern Neck, even though I get there's a broader
Right.
purpose here. Can we know that if this grant is approved, that this money is aligned with the purposes of this committee?
Yes, so this particular project, even though it says Northern Neck, is specifically for Lancaster.
Okay.
Each county has their own, we just group it as Northern Neck because that's how Virginia Royal Association, Bay Aging, and all of us are grouping it as Northern Neck because we're trying to show the state that they need to invest in these royal communities.
Okay.
And so that's why we brand it as Northern Neck. But when it's launched, it will be officially like Birth in Color, LAC, or something of that nature.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
And Anthem is doing a lot of our PR. So we're trying to figure out what that should look like.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And just from a scope perspective, just to give a sense of perspective, the request being made of us today is our equivalent of 2 years' worth of our total income for the EDA. It's a very big request for us, just so you know, just from a perspective. You know, we only earn about $25,000 to $30,000 a year as the whole EDA, and we need to parcel that out. So 55 is a really big request for us. Just to-
Right, I do understand that.
Okay, thank you.
So I think this is an extraordinarily important initiative. Actually, Jeff, were you done?
I'm done.
Okay, perfect. I think this is an extraordinarily important initiative for the community. But I do wonder, I see that this is an ongoing request as well, and I want to make sure, given what Jeff has just shared, that this is going to be sustainable. So do
So
you,
it should not be an ongoing request. It
Oh.
should only be a one-time request. I don't know if I put ongoing or not, but we only need the startup unless we're going to say, by the time we finish this program, the next year, it should only be developing, like adding more doulas to it. It will already be sustainable.
okay, got it.
And especially with Medicaid reimbursing, like there's other stuff happening too.
Okay, wonderful. So in looking at our financial records, which you don't have access to, I don't think we could truly cover the full extent of this grant request. So I'm wondering if we were to give you a partial request, would that actually, could you, with your business model, move forward with that?
So yes, I actually figured that you wouldn't, so I already had like started connecting with other people. Because I was like, I mean, I grew up here, so I understand about the finances.
Sure.
So, yes, we could still move forward.
Fantastic. I'm also interested in your growth plan. I think you've shared that you plan to start in Lancaster County. Can you speak a little bit more to the general, your strategic plan in terms of how you, and your objectives and how you plan to roll out and then expand your territory?
So what that looks like is typically we do, we hold childbirth education classes.
Okay.
So we work with the hospital providers. And so we use all of that as our PR as well. So raising awareness to what a doula is for people who don't understand and stuff like that. And then there's a process where you have to apply for the actual scholarship to become a doula. We review all of them, and then that's when we actually set the date for training. We train all of them. I assign them different births. I attend to all the births with each person for the first time, just to make sure that they're equipped and understand. And then we educate them on the business side of it as well.
Okay.
Like, what does it look like to run your own business? How do you have to monitor your finances? Because, like, I don't know if everybody in here should have grew up in the county, so I'm not sure if you actually were taught about economic development. We were not, I went to Northumberland High School, we were not taught about it. So a lot of what's happening also is that people don't understand how to manage their finances.
Sure.
And that's why they're still living in poverty now, so that's one of our goals. And so that's what the plan looks like. And then once we raise awareness, we have to do the train. There's another form where people can apply for the program.
Okay.
So once they apply for the program, based upon we have a lot of different factors that go into accepting them. And once they're accepted, then they get paired with the doula and then it moves forward.
Okay. And in terms of, excuse me, it sounds like you're starting here in Lancaster County, and then will you be launching in other counties at the same time, or are you going to try to get this off the ground first?
So no, this county would be off the ground first.
Okay,
And then we would move forwards with the other counties. So there's a system to all of the madness, because we can't do like all the counties at one time unless we're like training them all the same day. That was one of the topics of conversation, but upon like reviewing all of it, it's just easier to just launch one county at a time.
100% agree. It sounded very, very impressive doing it all at the same time. And then I think there are other opportunities as you're speaking to the education element here. Have you reached out to RCC?
So yes, so what RCC wants, and that's why I said after this year, we wouldn't have a problem with sustaining it, is that we have to have it workforce development, the certification, which we're going through now, but we're trying to figure out what the state wants to label this program as.
Okay.
And so that, it's a lot of like red tape, even with I'm the chair, and we're still trying to get answers on like, what's the paperwork, where we're going with it?
Sure.
Especially with the administration switching, a lot of that looks a lot different.
Got it. Awesome. All right. Does anybody else have questions?
I have one other question. I was a little confused on one of your charts. I was just curious how many women you think this program might affect within our county. So one of the charts, I was just a little confused on the numbers in the chart versus the words. And how many women of color in Lancaster County, I guess of childbearing age, do you think could be helped by this program?
So we have the 48 women who will all get free births, and then we have the 6 doulas who will be trained. So 54?
Okay, so it's set to, so you said that in your grant request, it's set to 48 that this particular grant will help, and then those doulas will continue to work
Yes.
going forward.
Mhm.
Okay,
So they can take on as many clients as they want to.
right.
I don't recommend taking on more than 3 clients a month. And so
Right.
that's their personal choices.
Okay. And do you have any others, are there other similar programs to this in Virginia? I wasn't able to find any, just doing sort of a quick search, but are there other?
So for,
With this focus?
as far as birth and color, no, but there are other doula programs,
Okay, but not with this particular focus?
but not with this particular.
Got it, okay. That's all I have.
Roy?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, you are approaching other counties in the Northern Neck? Are you going to
Yes.
do us first, or are you doing any of the others this
So
year?
I did Lancaster County first because I grew up here.
Okay.
Versus what the other counties.
Sure.
It was just a choice of mine that I was like, I would rather give back to my personal community first, versus going into the other ones.
Well, you will be going to the other counties in the
Yes.
Northern Neck? Any of them this year to ask for funding?
Yes, so we have Essex County, will be next. So we're going in order as the data shows. So the ones who have low birth term rate, or who has the highest preterm mortality rates, infant mortality rates. So we're going in order of
Okay.
what that looks like
It's just not a
after
good
the
thing that
personal
we're
choice.
first.
So no, Lancaster is first because I grew up here.
Yeah.
But the
Yes.
rest of the order is based upon the actual data.
Gotcha.
And the rates. And then we're partnering, we have a lot of partners within the county, and so we're all still planning on what that looks like. Because we're bringing a censoring program and like other things as well.
I have one
Okay.
other question,
Sure.
Karen.
Jeff?
Like you mentioned, a doula, you don't recommend a client load of more than 3 or any. What sort of revenue does that derive for the doula? Like, what's the reimbursement rate from Medicaid? Like,
So-
what would they expect to get?
So is this meeting is recorded?
It is, yes.
Okay, so I cannot publicly tell you the rate of Medicaid. However, it is a very good rate.
Okay. So I guess what I'm getting at is that,
That is sustainable.
that is a livable wage? for
Yes,
that?
it's
Okay.
probably more than most make in the area
Okay,
that, do different types of jobs of
right,
this nature.
okay, thank you.
I just had one other thing, just for
And they can
clarity.
also privately have services as well. It doesn't just have to be Medicaid.
So it's like private pay?
So they can do private pay as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if, I just found something, it's probably just a typo, I'm sure, but under the rural localities in Virginia, you have total population and the percentage white and percentage African American. And under Northumberland and Westmoreland County, the figures for the percentages are different on the second page. I think it was just a typo. It says under health equity, it said about approximately 70% of the population in Northumberland is African American, 67% in Westmoreland.
No, that is
But those figures are,
incorrect.
I think, are wrong based on the chart you have on the page before
That
that.
is incorrect.
So if you're-
I'm not sure.
Yeah, if you're
it didn't
submitting to
come
other
over
people, you may want to
correctly.
make sure of that.
Yeah, no, that is incorrect.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you just got it from the wrong thing. I just wanted to
Sometimes
make
when I
sure.
make it into a PDF, it does that. Because I think I tried to send it to you differently.
Well, I think you're probably one of the busiest women in the state of Commonwealth of Virginia, too, so.
All right. Is there anybody else with questions? All right. Kendra, thank you very much for taking the time. We vote in a closed session.
Okay.
And you'll be notified after the fact by
Thank you.
Don, but thank you very much. This is
Thank
a
you.
really wonderful initiative.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kendra.
All right. I think it's time to move on to our next agenda item, which is approval of the October 13th meeting minutes. Do we need
Make
to
a
read
motion
them?
to approve the minutes as written,
I second.
and second? Okay.
Without objection. Can we try that, Don, or do we have to ask?
Yeah, just as presented, approve them as presented. The
Okay.
minutes, that's fine.
Good.
All right.
But you need to vote.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if I could just ask without objection, and that, if nobody objects, we can move forward.
Well, we still need a vote. You need a vote. You need-
Okay, all right. Done it different. I'm learning as we go,
Yeah.
how we do it here. Okay,
That's the way I
New
like it.
position. It's a new
yeah,
position.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome, fantastic, thank you. All right, it's time to move on to the financial status report. Don, would you mind?
Madam Chair, you have a breakdown of your two accounts in front of you. The checking account, you can see that the town of Irvington had some leftover CARES money at the end of the year that they needed to get rid of by December 31st. So they had, I believe it was 9 businesses within the town of Irvington that they gave some grants to, and that's what that $26,000 reimbursement and grant checks were. You also collected $17,254.79 in administrative fees, and on the second page, you'll see you have 3 currently outstanding bond issues that you collect the 1/8 of 1% administrative fee on the outstanding balance of, and that's they are up-to-date listings of the revenue that you get from those past bond issuances. And you had $5.56 of interest earned, and you see the balance left in the checking account there. The community partnership CD, that's one of the best things that the EDA did a year or so ago. You get really good interest on that, but the trade-off is there are withdrawal limits. So you see the balance there in that account. That's the total financial report. Again, you don't need to make a motion to approve this. This is just for information purposes. Any questions?
What is the term of the CD?
What is what?
Is there a term on the CD?
You know,
Like-
I want to say it's 3 years. I'm not
I
positive.
think it was 3 years with 1 free with non-penalty withdrawal.
Okay,
Per
It's,
year.
it's at Blue Ridge.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but
okay,
Yeah, I believe that's what
we
it
could
was.
get the liquidity out in a bind, I think.
okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's no need even for a laddered approach then? Okay,
And then, Donna, I'll say, I think I'd mentioned to you that Williamsburg Landing was refinancing a lot of their bonds, but not this one.
Right,
Yeah, I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh, yes, they kept that one.
yeah. And the Yeah, I mean, and the one you did, the reissuance of the bond your last meeting, that was the Mariners Museum. Yep. So,
All right. So it's time to move into a closed session to discuss the grant request unless,
yeah, you're correct. There's a motion that needs to be made to go into closed meeting, and then there's a motion at the end of the closed meeting to certify. And just for simplicity's sake, I can read the motion and someone can say so moved, but when we go into closed meeting, everyone else will have to leave. So the motion should be that the Lancaster County Economic Development Authority enter into a closed meeting for grant requests per section 2.2-3711A6 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended for the specific discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved and where, if made public, the financial interests of the governmental unit would be adversely affected. So someone say so moved.
so moved.
And vote on that.
All right. Do we have a vote? I mean, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming.
We need
So-
to make a motion to,
Yeah, well, I'll read you your motion
Okay.
if all of your closed meeting discussion is over. Is it over?
Yeah.
So are we
Okay.
voting on, we have a
You-
couple different amounts we've
We don't-
discussed.
well, we're
When
gonna.
when we
have
come
to-
out of closed meeting, somebody's gonna
Then we
make a
can-
motion for an amount. This is, the Lancaster County Economic Development Authority convened in a closed meeting on January 20th, 2022 pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote on the motion to close the meeting to discuss grant proposals in accordance with Section 2.2, 3711A6 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2, 3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the EDA that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lancaster County EDA hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting to which this certification applies. Before a vote is taken on this resolution, is there any member who believes that there was a departure from the requirements of number 1 and number 2? And if so, identify yourself and state the substance of the matter and why, in your judgment, it was a departure. Hearing no statement, I ask for your vote to certify this closed meeting. Mrs. Bryce Rowland, say I certify.
I certify.
Mr. Carter,
I certify.
Mr. Sapersky,
Certified?
Mr. Rice,
I certify.
Ms. McLaughlin.
I certify.
All right, this certification resolution is adopted. You're back in open meeting and can consider motions on the grant request.
All right. Love it. I motion to give $10,000 to Birth and Color for their grant request. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, time for discussion. Thoughts from the rest of the authority?
I think it's a large amount, a large request going to our maximum amount for something that does have an economic event, but I think can be supplanted by medical funds in the healthcare industry that is more targeted toward this type of service.
Understood.
And I would agree with Jeff on that, and also based on our bylaws and what their bylaws say, I think it's a large amount. If we had a lot of money, I think that would be no issue, because I think it's a great thing for the community, but I believe in her information, she said it was $900 to train a doula. And, you know, for 6 doulas, that'd be $5,400. Now, other costs are transit and, you know, information, but some of the information costs and everything else on there, emails and things, seemed high to me simply because that's spreading out over so many different regions. It's not just this region. So, I would just agree with Jeff, and I think that's a high ask.
Okay. Anybody else want to?
I think I lean towards that as well. I think that there's a balance here, given our budget, and that feels a little bit high to me.
Okay. Sam, did you want to add anything?
I guess, as Jeff was saying, that if she's gonna be able to get funding and let's say Anthem would meet whatever her needs would be, I guess 7,500 would work, but, you know.
I agree. At the end of the day, I do think 7,500 versus $10,000, it is still helping support an initiative. I think we all agree in here. And knowing that, I guess she did present and say that basically there are groups lining up to help support this initiative. So I think this is a good way to show our support, but also $7,500 will help us protect our budget and other initiatives moving forward, knowing that she'll get the funding somewhere else. So,
So we had a motion on the floor that was seconded. We need to resolve that first, and then either that or withdraw the motion
Yeah, you can withdraw.
and amend it.
yep, I move to,
Well, you can just say you'll amend your motion to a new, whatever the new figure is, and then vote on that.
I'd like to amend my motion then to shift the amount, change the amount to $7,500 for this grant request. Do I have a second?
5 seconds.
Fantastic. All right, any additional discussion before we vote? No? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, at this time, does anybody have any additional business that they'd like to discuss?
Is this new business or old business?
It can be any, it's just
Yeah, any
any other
business.
business.
But just one thing, the one crack yoke that we gave money to, got a nice article in last week's paper, and I've actually stopped by his food truck, and it's pretty good breakfast.
Yeah.
It is good.
Really, it takes a little bit of time, but good breakfast.
We hired them out for our entire support building for one morning.
Oh,
A number of
Yeah.
people,
fantastic.
number
We
of
just
people
did it.
have hired him
And
out.
we just hired them out, and they came, and it was like $800 for us, and everyone was elated that they got breakfast.
I love that.
And also, under new business and old business too, as we know, unfortunately, Michael Laws had to move out of the county. So we have a vacancy, and it's in the second district. The second district is the purple. I'll show it to you all, but I'll walk you. This is Kilmarnock right here.
Okay.
The northern boundary, almost the entire northern boundary is the second district. And you can see how it sort of wraps around almost to the river, but not quite at the, so that's the district. And I don't know anyone really in that district. I asked Charlotte, because she's in that district.
No, Charlotte's in District 1.
Yeah.
Oh, she's in District 1. Oh, that's right, she's in the blue over
Right.
there. So, anyway, Jeff, you and Sam, I think, saw
Yeah.
that.
A point of clarification, Don, does it have to be a residence, or could they have a business interest in that district to be appointed?
I believe it's a residence.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah, we
towns,
send it.
what towns does that encompass? I'm not real familiar with that
I'm
part of.
sorry.
I don't know that they're.
What are those like, what area is that? Like-
That's the election district number 2 for Lancaster County. Lancaster has
Here,
5
I
election
just-
districts.
Right, but are
So
there
that's-
like certain towns that, I mean,
Well,
like if I'm
that's
thinking
the
of.
lively area, and it's basically a lot of the less populated area of the county,
Okay,
the northern fringe of the county where it meets Northumberland County.
Parts of the waterfront in Maravka, but not all of it.
Where are you located?
We are down over here somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, you're in District
It's a
1.
good,
District one,
the
yeah.
least populated, as you said,
Yeah.
so.
And we're currently going through a redistricting process, but District 2 is not going to change very much.
Okay.
Current district. So anyway, and we have to notify the Board of Supervisors of the vacancy.
Okay.
And Ernest Palin is the supervisor in that district. So, he could select someone, but if we know of someone that we could propose to the Board of
Sure.
Supervisors, that could be good.
And nobody on the current EDA is in District 2 but an at-large member, or do we have
Nobody?
low-hanging fruit here?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
nobody? No.
Okay. All right.
I do have one other thing. Did you have anything else, Roy?
No, that was it, yeah.
And Mr. Palin is aware that, of the vacancy in District 2 already. The last thing I want to say is, Crystal sent out the Statement of Economic Interest forms to all of you. That has to be returned by February 1st.
Right.
And if it's not returned and anything gets raised, any questions get raised about it, it could be a $250 fine. So please, if Crystal has another meeting at 9:30, the BZA meets, and she'll be doing minutes for that. But if you need a blank copy or you need a copy of what you submitted last year, you can stop by and see her on the way out, and she can get that to you.
Fantastic.
Okay, good.
Dawn, I did actually I was hoping you could give us an update on the search for where things are going, I guess, with the Assistant County Administrator.
Well, the way it's playing out is the board appointed the Community Business Relations Advisory Committee. That group has been meeting over the past 18 months, and it seemed like that group was creating a very specific job description of what that position would entail.
Okay.
We're actually going to meet next week, probably, Paul Shakatano, myself, Susan Cockrell, and begin to craft a job description for that position. The
Okay.
funding is there in FY '22 for that position, and the board is committed to it.
Okay.
I just, when Kilmarnock hired the replacement for Chad Thomas, it didn't seem like it was as much of a rush to get that position filled as it was prior to that. And I've stated this before, an economic development director position for the county is going to be a different position than for the town, because the town has all the retail, the storefronts,
Sure.
whereas the county does not. And so, it's moving. It's probably, it may get filled before July 1. I'll just put it that way.
Okay. Got it.
And Karen, I'd say on that overall initiative, each of the 6 major initiatives for that have developed a sort of a subcommittee under each pillar.
Okay.
Lisa is on the jobs one, as am I. There's a housing one that we sort of had an ill-fated meeting last week that we tried to start. Roy's on that with me. There is a communications one that Susan Cockrell's on. There's an education one that Dan is on. I can't remember who else is on that. So I guess my point is, each of the subcommittees are starting to meet and align tasks under the major initiative and come up with that. So it's making progress, I
Yeah.
guess. is my
Okay.
point.
And recreation, there was a
Recreation, thank you.
Got it.
subcommittee as well. So, from my standpoint, if I'm going to have an employee, I want a tangible list that I can, hold that person accountable for,
Of
and
course.
it just seemed like this group that was meeting was creating the ideal job description for that position, so.
What
So
do
that's where we're
you, so you said we have a Kilmarnock EDD, or,
That there's a Kilmarnock Economic Development Director for the town of Kilmarnock.
Yeah,
So
Sharon,
what-
Sharon Phillips. who
She
sitting
was
over
here
oh,
there,
that's who that was, okay.
She's the head of the EDA. there.
So what is the county level position gonna do, sort of, are they attracting new businesses to the area? Are they kind of doing the scaffolding of like how people come to know about it and then the towns take
I
over?
think it's going to be overall. I mean,
Yeah.
The Kilmarnock position is the only Economic Development Director position in the county.
that's
But
where most of the
it's
businesses
for the
are,
town
right?
of Kilmarnock.
Right.
The overall county position will be, how can we bring appropriate businesses to the county? How can we help with the work from home initiative? which Jimmy Carter, I love it, BYOJ, bring your own job. You know,
Yeah, that's not a bad marketing campaign.
no, and the fact that we've got the broadband issue supposedly solved, it's going to be, you know, probably best case scenario, the end of 2023, when there's fiber to every unserved home in the county. You know, that, all of this is playing together to help, but, you know, that county position is going to be for the entire county, not
Like pulling all
specifically focused on the town of Kilmarnock, so.
Perfect.
And it ties in, that person would be involved with the River Realm, would be involved with the Northern Neck Tourism Council, and, you know, it's just countywide.
Got it. Well, I have three, oh, go ahead.
I did ask Sharon Phillips before our meeting if there was anything that she had new information on, and she said, no, everything is pretty much status quo. She had talked about Starbucks and other things at the last meeting. And
Which is,
that's in her
that's
minutes.
on its way, right? The
Pardon?
Starbucks, there's a Starbucks
Yeah.
coming? Interesting.
And Amazon, are they open yet now? Do we know? And,
I'm not sure, they're close. I mean, they did a lot of
What is-
renovation inside that building. It's going to be the car wash coming in front of Walmart. You know, but again, all of those are within the town of Kilmarnock, so.
Right.
What's the Amazon project? Is it a warehouse?
It's a
or-
distribution center, yeah.
Oh,
I do know people that are already driving for Amazon in the county, so
Yeah.
I thought it was,
You know,
Probably some
and,
jobs,
you know, I should know, but I don't know if it's
Probably
actually
some
open or
jobs.
not. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'd
But
have to check.
she said everything is, and she has not heard from Andre that,
Right,
Ashley, who was gonna do the gym.
Northern Neck
um,
Fitness.
So that's, and he hasn't contacted me about anything, so,
Okay, he has not contacted me
No.
either.
okay.
okay.
The last thing I want is the next date, that's the scheduled date, April 21st, 8:30. Is that good with everybody?
Yes, I did want to raise, I know we have a conflict for July, and if, I feel like addressing that earlier than later is probably for the best. Can we discuss moving the July meeting, as Roy will be unavailable to join us on scheduled
I have
date?
conflict on the 21st of July. I'll be
Okay.
out of state.
Okay.
Have to be out of state. so.
Can we move it a bit
If we
later?
could-
Because
if
I
we
won't
could
be here
move it
earlier.
up. I couldn't do that Wednesday because I've got I could do the anytime the week before if anyone knows what their schedule
It
is.
sounds like Lisa just said she had a conflict the week before, so the week after?
28?
Yeah. Does it
I
have
could do
to
the
be in
week
July?
after, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the
It must be in
21st,
July.
Yes, sir.
and I'm going to be in
That's what I was
Dearborn, Michigan, so.
So
Does
we're
anybody-
looking
I'd
at
have,
the 28th. That's a Board of Supervisors meeting date, but they meet at night. That's not a problem.
Okay,
That would work for
Still
me.
at 8, 8 o'clock?
8:30.
8:30, yeah.
Yeah.
8:30?
28th of July then, is that the consensus?
does that work for
Yes.
everybody?
That sounds like it'll work.
Perfect.
Excellent, thank you.
Of course.
8:30.
Yes. The next meeting is strategically more of a focus. We don't have grant requests at that time. Things I'd like to think about and raise, just so people are thinking, I would love to see a little bit more synergy with the Planning and Zoning Commission. I don't know how that could work, but I think, smart growth really starts, we got to work together, I think. So if we could kind of brainstorm, I'll have an agenda come out, but how we might be able to look at that and do more with that, that'd be great.
Karen, sorry, I'm still getting my bearings here of what's happening in the county. By that, do you mean like clarifying what zoning would be relevant to economic development?
Yeah, I think that just working together more to try and make sure that we have common goals. Because I think right now we're working as two separate bodies, and it might be helpful for,
Well, I think where you're headed with this, we do have zoning districts that allow businesses. We do have a rural village overlay
Right.
over Lively, which allows for mixed use within the same building.
right,
So, and of course, we have the commercially zoned districts. We have two, C1 and C2. C2 is more limited. But the zoning is there in
Sure.
place that will allow commercial activity. It may require rezoning in some instances, but that's doable.
I think there's also the waterfront restrictions.
Yeah, you're here for the BZA. The EDA is finishing up, but you can certainly come in and sit down if you like. Oh, okay. Yeah, the BZA meeting starts at 9:30. The EDA started at 8. They're finishing up, but you all can come in.
So I think the waterfront zoning restrictions as well might be something to just discuss, as it makes commercial business very, very challenging. And I know more water access is something that is a goal for the Northern Neck and as a general, and the county. So that might be helpful. And then finally, Jeff, I'm hoping, I think I have as chair, I'm allowed to appoint somebody to step in on CBRAC. And I'd like Roy to stay on for the sake of continuity, but I would like to engage more as chair, just so I know what's going on. Can we talk about opportunities for that?
I'm just a member. You have 3 EDA members
Sure.
that are, but Roy and I are on the primary. I'd be glad to do that. It's, we have not, we have another meeting, what, like 2 weeks?
February 2nd.
February
February
2nd,
2nd,
yeah,
yeah.
2 weeks. And that's where we reconvene after all the subcommittees have met and get those reports. So I'll have
Okay.
a lot better idea then. I'll be glad to do that.
Okay, oh yeah, I would love to be present,
And
if I could be a fly on the
is,
wall at that meeting.
That's done virtually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The Board of
Okay, perfect.
the Board of Supervisors appointed the members to the
Sure.
CBRAC committee,
Right.
and then the CBRAC committee brought in their own subcommittees.
Okay,
So
I
And I
see.
wasn't even appointed by the board. There were
You
only
weren't?
3 members appointed, and I was one of 2 that was brought in after that.
Yeah, because
Got it.
originally it was Paul Shakatano, Jimmy Carter, and Julian Patterson.
Right.
Got it. And I thought we had a liaison, and that was Roy, as
Yes.
EDA has liaison.
Well,
Okay,
You've got 2, and plus Lisa's on the subcommittee.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. But I'm not looking to make an official change to our liaison, but I am interested in engaging.
I will know then I don't know who all the subcommittee members are now,
Okay.
because we're sort of like, go out, like, from my opinion, there are too many people on the CBAC committee on the
Sure.
committees right now.
Yeah.
We're not leveraging a lot, so I'm on 3 of those subcommittees now, and I think honestly I should be on 1 at most.
Sure.
So we're looking to get deeper engagement on those committees, but I'll have a better idea, but
Like
you
Lisa
might be
helping
great
on
in
the
the
committee.
recreation committee.
Yeah.
They're pushing that Triway Trail, waterfront, water access. Those are the issues that are coming up through that recreation committee.
Are
Okay.
you guys looking for, so one of the things that came out of the jobs meeting that I've only been to one of, but I'm gonna hold a few focus groups, kind of about newer residents, like last couple of years, and then newer last 15 years. But I think that that will pull some people that, if you're looking for kind of new people to mix into those,
Yep.
that would be a question we could ask at those focus groups of like, is anyone interested in any of these topics? Is that something you're looking for? It sounds like maybe you,
Well, within the CBRAC, I'd say for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking to broaden the base
yeah,
Okay,
That's-
I'll
that's-
insert that into
Of the
those
committees.
groups.
of the committees,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
okay, fantastic.
I did get 1 grant request in last week. Of course, it wasn't in time to make this meeting, and I told that person that it would be considered in July.
In July.
Okay,
And they need to know it's the 28th then.
Yeah.
okay.
And they can wait that long? I mean, is it,
They didn't tell me they could.
okay.
Out of
Okay,
curiosity,
I
can
just
you
have
share
one
what it, can you share what it is?
Huh?
Can you share what it is, or just,
To be honest with you, I can't remember. I didn't print it off. I'm sorry.
Just before we adjourn, I just want to make sure everybody knows